cap off our coverage of Hong Kong, we're taking you behind the scenes inside the crypto community. From OTC and trading to co-working on the blockchain and a true community culture around mass adoption, this week's Crypto Trader starts right now.
Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.
This episode is brought to you in part by Hybrid Summit. Crypto Trader has spent much time in Hong Kong. We found firsthand that it's poised to be one of the world's leading blockchain bases.
We're here at the Hybrid Summit with some of the biggest names in crypto. Let's not waste any time. Let's get straight in there and see who's making the headlines.
Hybrid was all about security tokens. We found at least 2 exchanges and a whole lot of STOs launching soon. That must be a bullish sign.
I think 2019 is actually shaping up to be quite a good year.
Also bullish was headliner Tommy Lee. The fund strat sage was on stage making the case for Bitcoin once again. Ladies and gentlemen, just off the stage at the Hybrid Summit here in Hong Kong, I have a very special guest. He's the only guy in crypto who's made more wrong Bitcoin calls than I have. I've got Tommy Lee. Tommy, welcome to Crypto Trader.
Thanks.
Tommy, price predictions. Both you and I have made a lot of price predictions in 2018, and specifically we got a lot of price predictions wrong.
Yeah.
Are you still making price predictions?
No, we decided that it is very difficult to try to predict the price of crypto and digital assets 12 months forward. So we are really talking more about, upside, downside, and relative value, but not trying to establish any price targets.
So the narrative has changed, and my narrative has also changed. In fact, I made a pledge on Twitter that I would do no more price predictions after last year and essentially focus on the fundamentals of where Bitcoin is going. Could you summarize for us where we are in this crypto landscape and why you're still bullish?
I think these are still early days. The best way to measure that is, let's say crypto is really sort of transforming the financial system, and one benchmark is Visa, because there's roughly 5 billion Visa card holders. There's probably at most 50 million active crypto wallets today. So, crypto still has a huge amount of growth ahead of it, because going from 50 million to 5 billion is a huge jump in terms of total number of users.
So we're making the assumption that Bitcoin will replace Visa, or crypto will replace Visa as the payment mechanism. But at the same time, we see these centralized institutions launching their own, they're calling them crypto, but actually it's just a digital US dollar. We see this happening with JP Morgan, we see this happening with Facebook. Do you consider those things good for the crypto economy?
Yeah, I think it's a validation essentially of the proof of concept. I think if you looked at institutional, financial institution views of crypto, they probably thought digital assets was a bad idea a couple years ago. Now, as they're launching their own permissioned blockchains, it's really saying that crypto's onto something right.
Now, speaking of moonshots and trades that are working out, you also showed another slide, and that slide threw me off completely. That was the slide that showed what happens if you missed the 10 best days in Bitcoin's life, and how bad your returns would actually be, or how less than normal your returns would actually be if you missed those 10 days. Tell us about that slide.
Yeah, I think that assuming digital assets are early stage, people have to have a portion of it as long-term holdings, and instead of trading it, because if you don't own Bitcoin for the 10 best days in any year, your annual return is minus 25% a year. So Bitcoin's a losing asset most of the year, and then 10 days drive all the return.
So what drives that? I mean, is that because up until now we've had an immature market and an illiquid market that has rallied crazy numbers? Or is this a trend that we can actually foresee going forward?
Interestingly, it's true for almost all financial assets. So if you take the S&P and you exclude, I think, the 10 best days, the S&P subtracts 5% a year. So
Wow.
just think, so what it's saying is that the S&P, if you try to time it and you don't time it right, you don't do any better than 2% a year.
So your conclusion is, of course, to HODL, because that's the only way to catch those 10 days, unless you're a magician.
Yes, I think the reason you want to HODL is partly because of the timing, the 10 best days, and the other is that it's hard to know which one of these assets is going to be, the 100,000 to 1. And so you want to hold a basket.
So tell me, before I let you go, we are running out of time. And I'm not going to ask you for a price prediction because I think we're now beyond that. What do we need from a technical point of view for this crypto market to turn?
Well, technicals are hugely important. And I think the simplest one, that has worked both in the equity market and it works in crypto is the 200-day moving average. Bitcoin's below its 200-day moving average, pretty substantially below it actually right now. But if it holds 3,800, Bitcoin should cross above its 200-day sometime in the middle of this year. And we've shown that in terms of price return, when Bitcoin's above its 200-day, it's 10 times greater annualized returns than when it's below its 200-day.
So we need to cross the 200-day moving average.
Yeah, that's the key from a technical perspective, yes.
So that's Tommy Lee. He's not making any price predictions, but he is telling us that if we cross the 200-day moving average, which could happen pretty soon, we may go back to the moon.
And as you can see, in bear markets, Bitcoin's price has tended to bottom around the 200-week moving average. And that 200-week moving average today is around 3,200. And that's why it looks like Bitcoin is essentially finding its bottom.
So let's hold thumb for that 200 moving day average to be crossed.
The keynote speech on building a more accessible world today. Please give it up for Larry Sanger.
Also on stage was Larry Sanger, co-founder of Wikipedia. He's now big on blockchain and moved into the space, starting Everypedia. Think like a Wikipedia meets crypto and getting paid for posting knowledge on the hub. Larry, you're no stranger to decentralization, but a lot of the stuff that I heard on the stage today I haven't heard about before. And one of the things is that you're actually quite disappointed about Wikipedia. Why is it that you're not that happy with the progress of Wikipedia or how it works?
Well, the main problem that I see is that there aren't enough people involved in the project. There's a lot of other problems besides that.
When you say there's not enough people involved in the project, you're talking about the contributors. You're talking about
That's right.
10,000, 12,000 people that contribute all the time, right?
Right?
And is that not enough?
It isn't. If you're talking about a top 10 site and that is read by literally hundreds of millions of people, there should be millions of contributors.
So Larry, blockchain can be compared to very much to Wikipedia in terms of the fact that they're both decentralized. Where are we going so wrong in blockchain? Why don't we have this uptake in blockchain? We must be doing something wrong.
Where are we going wrong? Well, there's two different ways of thinking about that question, right? One is, why are the prices so low? Coming as from the world of internet entrepreneurship, as I do, I think about success in terms of how many users have you got, and how much of mind share do you have. DApp developers don't think that way. They think in terms of the price. Like, who the hell cares about the price if your DApp isn't actually being used by people? And how do you get your DApp used by people? You make sure that it's well designed. You make sure that the UX is awesome. You make sure that it does what it does at least as well, hopefully significantly better than any other ordinary app on offer.
So Larry, have you seen a DApp today that you think has got really good design and good usability?
I don't want to single anyone out. I think we're doing a really good job. We haven't launched the new design yet.
So when you say we, are you redoing Wikipedia as Everpedia?
I wouldn't say they're quite the same kind of thing, right? So in one way they are. Everpedia is a fork of Wikipedia and it is a wiki. In another way, it's quite different. It's a direct competitor, at least Everpedia.org is a direct competitor. But the Everpedia network, that can include, it could encompass all of Wikipedia and all the other encyclopedias in the world.
So how will, you mentioned at the beginning of the interview that Wikipedia isn't working because there's only 10 to 12,000 active contributing people behind it. How is Everpedia going to be different?
Well, in the fullness of time, obviously we don't have that many contributors yet, but in the fullness of time, I want us to have millions of contributors, and I don't see any reason why we won't. But I believe what will exist are a number of tools that will enable users to contribute to the Everpedia network from their blog, from Medium, from maybe even Quora, from all kinds of different sources.
Is there a reward element using cryptocurrency on Everpedia?
Everpedia has the IQ token, and if you add an article or make an edit, then you are rewarded. You unlock for yourselves IQ tokens.
So is that the secret recipe, or the difference between Wikipedia and Everpedia?
That is one of the important differences, but I actually don't think that's the most important difference. More important than that is the fact that the tokens will give you a governance stake in the community, and the community will be democratically governed. You will actually be able to vote on measures. And the other huge difference is, again, decentralization. We will be able to incorporate articles from lots of different sources.
Well, I guess only time will tell. It's been such a pleasure having you on Crypto Trader. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And only time will tell if STOs in fact become the next big thing.
We have moderator Henry Liu.
There's been two major lags here. One is, of course, liquidity, or exchanges, which allow people to trade securities tokens. And the next is regulation, regulatory bodies clearing the way. So it seems we found the seeds to growth right here at the Hybrid Summit, starting with a regulatory body, CESA, out of Cebu in the Philippines, and an exchange called ADAX.
First of all, thank you everybody for joining us through this long day, but quite an interesting program that we've had on behalf of Hybrid Summit.
So one of the speakers went up on stage today and said, STOs are like talking about sex in high school. Everybody's talking about it, but not everyone is participating in it. And I found that kind of interesting, that there is a lot of talk here. We're at the Hybrid Summit, and everyone's talking about this new thing that's coming, and that's going to be STOs. But there are very few STOs that have been issued. Why do you think that's the case?
The regulation right now just isn't ready for most jurisdictions, right? What we're doing in CESA, which is who I'm here to represent, we've created regulation around that so that they have a framework that they can clearly follow. Around the security token offerings, we've also then just issued additional rules which make it very clear what the process is to do an STO. And that's including everything from doing your listing to having a secured wallet to having all the different vendors that you need in place to make sure that it works properly.
Now, Joy, you guys are doing something very interesting. Tell us a little bit about CESA, and I didn't even know this place existed.
Okay, CESA stands for the Cagayan Economic Zone Authority. It's essentially a government agency under the Office of the President, which enjoys a charter which was promulgated by Congress. It gives us the power to issue out new business rules and regulations to infuse investment in the zone.
So it's a zone?
It's a zone.
The zone is somewhere in the Philippines?
It's in the Philippines, in the northernmost part.
You've created legislation which allows for people to issue securities tokens from your jurisdiction, but you can't market these securities tokens in the Philippines.
Yes.
Okay, but surely you've got to see the irony in that you've got this free zone where you can do whatever you want, but don't market it to the same country.
If you offer these businesses offshore, it infuses investment in the Philippines by form of employment, technology transfer, and also the businesses or the corporations that would locate there would enjoy a different tax, regulatory, and institutional environment.
So very similar to what people like Malta did for blockchain, or Estonia did for blockchain, trying to create favorable regulation to bring people into the zone.
Yes.
Guys, I'm looking at you guys. You've got a license, or you've got one of these licenses. Does that mean that you're going to start issuing securities tokens?
Well, absolutely. I think one of the most important things is being able to follow and guide more people, as well as ourselves, to say what is it that we have to do to be compliant with the rules and regulations being set out by people from CESA, right? We look to them as to say, hey, how are you going to guide this industry to become a place where we can welcome new businesses, welcome new concepts and ideas that are looking for liquidity, are looking for investment.
You've got a license. What happens next? What do we need to do to get securities tokens really to become mainstream?
In that sense, to answer your question, what do we do? What's the next track? Well, first, we get that issuance. We get that done with the compliance, with what we need. Then we move that to secondary markets, right?
So I think that's where ADAX comes in. ADAX is basically a secondary market security token platform. So we are licensed by CESA, and we are also a member of ABICA, which is the self-regulatory group. So again, when people think about security token exchange, they always wonder, how is it different from a crypto exchange, right? So while the back-end technology stays the same, you are moving stuff on the blockchain, but on the front end, it actually moves exactly the way a regulated security exchange would move.
If I were to ask you guys to put your head on the block and say, how long until securities tokens become a mainstream capital raising instrument competitive with the existing markets? How long would you say? Let's start off with you.
I think within the year. We're going to see some sort of traction, but I think it's going to take at least a year of us playing around and understanding seriously what it's going to take. Then we have a better vision in the next 3 years.
So I think that would be anything between 18 to 24 months, mainly because the regulations are still up to catch up worldwide. We have CESA, who's been in the forefront. We have some other jurisdictions in the world who have been taking steps, but some of the developed economies are still catching up to that.
18 to 24 months?
Yes, maybe around that time frame, but before anything can happen, we need to have a stable regulatory environment for that.
Over to you. How long until we have this unicorn company with a primary issuance mechanism of a security token?
If ADAX says they're going to do it in 18 to 24 months, it's 18 to 24 months. What Joy is mentioning is it's not just about CESA having their own structure, their own rules, their own regulation. The reason why we have ABICA is the Asia Blockchain and Crypto Association. We are basically all the members consist of all the license holders within CESA. And we're working together to see how do we have a united front so that when we're going to the investors, we're going to the banks, we're going to all the different custody partners or wallet partners that are needed to make this happen. We're all kind of singing the same tune.
So these guys are extremely bullish. They say we're going to have a unicorn company, $1 billion plus company, using a security token as its primary issuance mechanism within 18 to 24 months. My bet is that they're all being a little bit bullish, but I guess only time will tell. So we've just had a very interesting panel about securities tokens, but let's cross over to our correspondent in the field to see companies that are actually doing security tokens offering.
Thanks, Ran. So we're here, it's 2019, STOs are happening. I'm here with Michael from Redium, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the real estate app that's like Tinder.
So Redium is a global real estate equity crowdfunding platform that allows anyone around the world to compliantly invest in income-producing real estate for as little as $100, collect the monthly revenue based on how much they own, and liquidate their shareholding on our exchange within 24 hours. You go in, you can pick individual properties, you can swipe left, swipe right for things you like, just like Tinder. You can choose self-storage, senior living, hotels, residential, funds. You can base it on geography if you want. And so we've just got our associate broker-dealer license in the United States. We'll be launching in 6 weeks.
Thank you very much. I'm Warren Cudney of Wahupta Ventures. Really excited to be here in Hong Kong.
So we're here with Wahupta. So tell folks a little bit more about the hemp product that you guys are operating.
We're a Canadian-based company. We did about 1,000 acres in hemp last year. The next year in Canada alone, we'll do about 30,000 acres. We actually have everything from genetics to farming, all the way through to finished products, and CBD and so many other minor cannabinoids within the hemp plant.
A little bit about the project, UBUC.
And what they do is the employers buy a voucher and they transfer that voucher using digital technology built on what's called the Waves blockchain protocol. In other words, what happens is the trucker who receives the payment then has it in an app that can be redeemed onto a prepaid debit card that's the same as a MasterCard. It can be used in 210 different countries, and that was the genesis of the product.
So you guys are publicly traded within Canada?
That's correct. So UBUC is 100% owned by a Canadian Securities Exchange traded company, and the stablecoin is built on a wonderful protocol called Waves that recently broke the speed record, so we're really excited about those decisions.
Navigating the STO world, what has that been like for Redium?
So what we decided to do is to build a platform that builds an issuance platform and a compliance engine so that we can do STOs for properties and real estate funds. Really, what we've done is we're digitizing private securities.
And you guys are doing IPO and STO? How does that work?
Correct, almost simultaneously. We're in the midst of doing our IPO, and we're working in final stages of having our secure token offering done at the same time. The market is, I think, globally beginning to really position itself. We want the opportunity to make the access to capital a little bit more easy. When we look at blockchain blockchain in terms of our company, being able to take that single isolate and ensure the security of that product all the way through is important, but I think it also allows us the opportunity for capital with the STO in other markets, and we're not, on the regulatory side, I think it just gives us some flexibility.
And what are some of the hurdles that you guys are facing in order to get the STO going?
We think that governments are moving slowly because they want to make sure that they can protect investors. They want to make sure that they have good actors and they have good legislation. So, you know, Malta, lots of jurisdictions have pushed forward, and I think lots of other jurisdictions such as Canada are going to follow suit.
I mean, what were some of the hurdles that you had to overcome?
Absolutely. Well, I started out as a bond trader for 10 years at TD Bank and RBC in Canada. And a big part of the hurdles that we faced was on a regulatory scale and just getting the banking finances and regulations up to scratch. And we've been able to navigate all those tricky waters and get everything up and running.
What about getting into the STO space, some of the hurdles? Can you describe that for me?
And the platform we're using, I think, is going to be, the 8X platform is going to be the one to use for us. I think the hurdles will be no different for us than there is anybody else. Don't foresee any big challenges.
Do you have a firm date for the IPO, the STO?
90 days.
Okay, so Wahhoopta, 90 days. We will be on the lookout. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay. After the break, we hop into the iconic cabs here, travel the city, and take you into the Hong Kong blockchain scene. Stay tuned.
Steve and Dave use eToro to invest in the financial markets. Steve does research on global investment opportunities. Dave does research on how to become a level 60 wizard. Steve follows the feed for the latest market news. Dave follows the feed for the latest cat videos. Steve has a watch list for promising investments. Dave has a watch list too. So why is Dave just as good an investor as Steve? It's because Dave used eToro's copy trader to automatically replicate Steve's trading activity. Whenever Steve makes a trade, Dave does too. Yes. Trade like a Steve with eToro, the world's leading social trading platform.
For more exclusive content from CNBC Crypto Trader, hit the subscribe button now. Welcome back. We're taking a break from the blockchain buzz to check out the crypto community here in Hong Kong. We crisscrossed the city streets to show you the blockchain businesses building here around crypto. And to show you around is a local expert and fellow South African, Gareth Lai.
Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to Hong Kong. I know it's a little bit crazy, but this is a melting pot of everyone here. Let's go check it out. Oh, here we have some friends actually just talking. This is the mixing ground of Hong Kong. Yeah, what's going on this week?
You know, living in Hong Kong, like we get to have such cool people come through every time. And so this week in particular is going to be a big week for us in crypto. And myself, my background's in machine learning, data science out in California.
Oh, here's some other friends in town. What's up, guys? What are you guys doing this week for Hong Kong Blockchain Week?
Hey man, how you doing?
Good man.
Just here to mingle with some people. So I work for a crypto fund out of Amsterdam.
How about you, James?
Similarly, well, we run a crypto fund of funds based out of Beijing.
I'm going to go show them some local companies out here.
Good.
All right,
Awesome.
thanks man.
Cool.
Thanks guys.
Catch you up, man.
Yeah, take care. All right, now we're on the way to BC Group. They have two major companies under them, OSL as well as ANX1. So OSL basically does OTC trading. They're one of the largest desks out here. ANX1 is actually a newly launched institutional-based exchange. And that's going to be really interesting to see how they are playing the game within the Hong Kong ecosystem.
Hey guys, glad you could join me. Today I'm going to show you a tour of the headquarters of ANX1, so please come with me. And so here we have an open breakout area. This is where we allow our staff to collaborate, socialize, eat, whatever else be the case. This is where the action happens, and this is where we have some fun. Hong Kong is my favorite city in the world.
Really, why?
For one, you know, they say New York is the city that never sleeps. I would have to actually disagree. Hong Kong, it never stops. Why don't we go and check out the view? Complete 360-degree views of all of Hong Kong. This is an asset class and a technology that is acknowledged that it's not going away. It is here to stay. And it's definitely piquing interest from all sorts of sectors, not just your typical technology, but we're seeing institutional firms, banking, finance, fintech, all moving into this space. So this is one of our development teams. So here we focus predominantly on development of the ANX1 platform, which is our crypto exchange, which focuses on professional and institutional traders. So in this office alone, we have around 60 traders working on some of those initiatives. The BC Group has just over 300 employees, but obviously we are a technology company. We're pretty much very technology heavy. This is one of the offices that we have in Hong Kong. We have a few others throughout the world. Probably the biggest hurdle that I think we faced was the uncertainty with regulation. What are you working on right now?
I'm checking the trading log.
Trading logs. Okay, you're working on a fixed implementation, I imagine. When we entered the space, a lot of people were saying, is this allowed? What's going to happen? A lot of the regulators globally really didn't know what to do. We saw some regulators say, well, this isn't money, it's not a security, and therefore we'll sort of ignore it. We saw some regulators actually attempt to ban it, and they've actually done a U-turn. So this is one of the rooms that today it's called the trading war room.
Yeah, I mean whether the ledger has to send a message to notify platform. Okay, don't listen to what messages is in the contract. Just ignore them. But
you haven't stopped platform yet. We will pay back the lost trade from here, right? So this is the lost trade. Yes.
But what we are seeing, through last year and the continuation of this year, is more clarity around regulation, and that's extremely positive. And furthermore, it owes to a lot of legitimacy and credibility to this asset class now. When the regulator steps in and actually does want to start regulating it, that's what a lot of people have actually been sitting on the sidelines, and they're waiting for this playbook to be written to see how they can actually operate in this space. In Asia, we're actually seeing, obviously I'm a little bit biased, but we're actually seeing the Asian regulators actually be the most innovative. Guys, thank you very much for joining. That's it from ANX1, that's it from Hong Kong, and see you next time. Cheers.
We're in a Hong Kong taxi right now, passing Wan Chai. That's the exhibition center over there. The Hong Kong blockchain community is actually really, really strong. You have some people that pioneered really large companies out of Hong Kong, such as OSL by Dave Chapman. You have EOS, as well as BitMEXC. So some really noticeable companies worldwide, and they were all born out of here.
Hey guys, welcome to Genesis Block. This is the premier Bitcoin center in Hong Kong. So on the left of the stairs, this is the Bitcoin white paper. A lot of people from Hong Kong come here for meetups, events, to trade with us. You can see we have ATMs for 3 different coins. We actually have 35 ATMs across Hong Kong. And this is the space. This is our front desk where clients open accounts. Another machine here where you can both buy and sell crypto. So this is actually where we hold most of our meetups. It's up to about 50 people. We'll bring in specific projects, experts in the space, and of course, trader meetups, miner meetups. And over here, we have Gareth and Lizzie. Hey guys. This is right in the heart of Wan Chai. For Genesis Block, we were founded by miners out of China and Hong Kong. And we are very, very enthusiastic about the crypto space, and we believe in mass adoption. Hong Kong really lacked a sense of community and a safe place where people can get good education around blockchain. So we decided to set up this Bitcoin Center in Wan Chai, and we hold lots of events to teach people what crypto is really about. This space is so early that, to be honest, without people actively trying to educate, there really is no way to learn. And it's a lot easier to trust a person you meet rather than what you see online. So we think there's definitely value there. We do not charge for events. We are absolutely open for anybody to come in and learn or share what they want. And we think that, in the long run, we will be at the center for, at least for Hong Kong, hopefully Asia, when it comes to education and kind of pushing adoption in many areas.
Now we're going from Hong Kong Island to Kowloon Bay towards Bitworks' office. Here we are in Kowloon Bay. It's a new up-and-coming area where all corporates and tech companies are setting up shop. So Bitworks is up here. Let's go check them out. That's Raymond over there.
Hi,
Raymond.
welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. Can you show us around then?
Yeah, just get in here.
Awesome.
So we have something for the space and event and something for the office space. And you can find this hub is all our office. We have like meeting rooms and another two small ones. And some of the office is like the private room for people, you know, working here every day.
We help them to transform the traditional business model to the new blockchain business model.
That's very cool.
And then some is the smaller, or some is like bigger size because we try to suit different size of the business company here. And they also will have some different background.
Awesome.
On their like blockchain business.
Okay.
We try to be not, you know, everyone doing the same business.
Yeah.
I think the biggest event, actually we did the BINANCE, the hackathon in here very successfully. I think BINANCE is one of the biggest crypto exchange platform in India.
Yeah, everyone is in town now. It's really cool.
Yeah, like thousands of people in town now.
We want to build the Bitwork as like a blockchain community. We try to bring the traditional businessman to the blockchain world.
Awesome.
Thank you. Okay.
So that's the conference by day. But for 2 weeks straight here in Hong Kong, it was networking like crazy come cover of night. It began with the Blockchain Weeks meetup at the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business in Hong Kong, an OKX event. A first OSL night overlooking one heck of a view at the Hong Kong harbour. Nexus's night. Then there was Unification's Moondrop night at Alto, one of the city's renowned rooftops.
Decided to put Hong Kong on the map as a leading blockchain hub.
The crypto community kept it going into Token 2049.
Let's go.
In Lang Kwai Fong with Tron and Bizkey throwing a party where you could only pay in crypto.
It's been an incredible time so far. It was totally worth the trip.
Yeah, it's been really amazing.
FBG Capital was overlooking the city at C'est La Vie.
I think we're going to see a good push.
A good push into what?
I think the market's going to turn around sooner than everybody thinks it is. I really do.
1KX had a meetup at a local co-working space, and so on and so forth.
You know, throughout the day, a lot of the environment is serious. You know, one of these events allows us to, you know, have a bit of a casual chat, let our hair down a little bit. But, you know, tomorrow, first thing in the morning, we're back to serious business.
And back to business for us. There you have it. That's Hong Kong by day, by night, by conference, and all covered by CNBC Crypto Trader. So that's it from me right here at the Hybrid Summit in Hong Kong. I've got to go and catch a plane. I'll see you again next week. Until then, trade well, my friends.
Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.